I'm gonna give you 2 tips for writing science fiction that will make your science fiction much stronger, much more interesting. And I say this as somebody who has written, I'm not sure how many books. I've written probably 3 dozen novels that were either science fiction or fantasy. So this applies to both science fiction and fantasy. And these 2 tips are things that people don't often tell you, but I think are important, especially the second one. People never talk about the second one that I've seen, and yet I think it's a really indispensable tool. Let's talk about the first one first. Typically, or very commonly, writers will come up with a science fiction or fantasy concept based on the technology. Either the magical system or magical implements, say, runes or wands or what have you, and the technological system in science fiction will be the basis from which they will spin out a story. So they'll have a time travel story, or they'll have a space opera, or they'll have a quest story with wizards and druids. And people typically, I think, take that idea and then just run with the idea, see where it takes them. But what I want to suggest is that you stop before you do that. Think about the technology that interests you, that you want to write about, and think about its meaning in terms of a theme that you want to explore. What possible things does it tell you about the world that we live in? Because remember, even if you're writing about a fantasy world that doesn't exist somewhere else, or you're writing about the far distant future or the far distant past, you're always really writing about today. And you're writing about the concerns of today. Think about how your story of traveling across time and space, or conjuring up the dead or whatever, how that resonates with some issue that is faced by people today. And that can be your theme. If you tie your technology to your theme, both the technology and the theme become more profound. The second thing is do something different with your technology and with your characters. People expect the good wizard to be the bearer of light, and they expect the Romulans to be bad, and so they look bad, or the Klingons before Worf became a hero on Star Trek New Generation, and they're ugly. Instead, make the ugly actually the heroes of the story, and it becomes much more interesting because it's unexpected and it always feels fresh. You can find ways to take your technology and twist it so that the heroes are not the expected way that heroes are supposed to be. You're going to have a much better story.